Bandharvgarh, in the heart of India's forests. Clearings teem with langur monkeys and chital deer. High in the hills, ancient Hindu temples, now sheltering new life. A tiny Bengal tiger cub and his mother, Sita. This little male is one of 3 cubs. He's the boldest, the first to leave the den. Followed by his 2 sisters. But it's Sita and son who are especially close. The little cubs are just 8 weeks old. In another part of the forest, their father. He is called Charger and has a fearsome reputation. Charger spends most of his time patrolling his domain, visiting his females. It's winter. Each morning and evening, the mother chital deer bring their young out into the grasslands to feed. Chital are preyed on by tigers, though not by the little cub yet. Sita brings home all of the family's meals. Although her cubs will nurse until they are about 18 months old, even at this tender age, they have a taste for meat. Sita is an expert hunter. The family's survival will depend on her skills. She must make a kill every few days. While his sisters feed, the male cub has his mother all to himself. Sita's devotion to her son is unmistakable, and the little male is a true mother's boy. This is Sita's 6th litter. Her first 2 were fathered by Charger's predecessor. He was an older male named Barker. 7 years ago, he was forced out of his territory by an aggressive young newcomer, Charger. It took him more than a year to drive Barker out of his territory. Barker was forced to go elsewhere. Now Charger was in charge. He had taken over all of Barker's mating rights, and mating is just about all Charger does. He and Sita have now had 4 litters together. But only a few of their cubs have survived. More than half of them died, victims of other tigers, illness, and perhaps poachers. and one cub drowned. One of the survivors is a female named Butchie. She has thrived and now lives in her own territory not far away. Six years have passed since a young charger established his turf. Now he is about 12 years old and not quite the charger he used to be. Sita has aged more gracefully. She is 16, old for a tigress. This could be Sita's last chance to raise a complete family to adulthood. This little male can't get enough of his mother's attention. As his two sisters continue to feed, the little male's curiosity gets the better of him. But his exploration is cut short. Sita has spotted danger. There are vultures overhead. Other animals know that wherever there are vultures, there's a carcass. If predators come looking for it, they will be a threat to the cubs. Sita knows a tiger's fur must not smell of meat, and the cubs have already learned to keep their fur clean. It's time for Sita to move the cubs. Every 3 or 4 days, she takes them to a different den, a new hiding place, even though the little tigers are at their most vulnerable when they are moving through the forest. A leopard lies perfectly camouflaged. It would not dare to attack tiger cubs when their mother is so close. Charger has also seen the vultures and is hoping for an easy meal. Sita and the cubs reach their destination. It's been a long walk. The trip has given the cubs an appetite. In a neighboring valley, about a mile away, lives one of Sita and Charger's few surviving offspring, Butchie. Now 3 years old, she's a mature female, ready to have cubs of her own, if she can find a mate. She advertises her availability. Butchie will probably not mate with her father, Charger. She is more likely to wait for a new male to come into her territory. Sita is on the prowl. A sambar could provide her family with enough meat for several days. The deer senses something in the undergrowth. Sita has killed the deer and holds it through the forest. Her presence causes panic in the treetops. Sita carefully hides the kill from other predators. Now she must go and get her cubs. The little male and his sisters spend many hours without their mother while she hunts. She is back to lead them to the kill. The cubs play all the way. Sita has eaten her fill. It's the cubs' turn. The male cub finishes quickly. This gives him more time to spend bonding with Sita. Cosseted and clean, the male cub's curiosity once again gets the better of him. It's time for adventure. If he keeps still, the langurs will hardly know he's there. His desire for a closer look causes a commotion with the langurs. And the monkey's reaction causes confusion in the little male cub. A sambar keeps an eye and an ear on the little male cub. The cub is still small, but already his presence can create havoc. It's been enough of an adventure for the little male. He heads back to the security he can always find at his mother's side. Still his favorite place to be. And it's the only place to find mother's milk. The cubs are learning the physical skills their lives will depend on when they have to hunt for themselves. The tired male cub rests beside his mother, while his two sisters continue to tussle. But then again, he isn't quite ready to settle down. Sita is thirsty. She and the cubs head to a nearby waterhole. Her little male cub is still learning his way around. As always, he finds a spot close to his mother. Vultures are circling over the remains of Sita's recent kill. Their presence leads a hungry male tiger straight towards the family. It's Charger. The cub's father rarely hunts for himself. He looks for easier meals. Often that means food that's been killed by one of his females, and most often that tigress is Sita. The cubs are close by. But all Charger is after is a leg of sambar. Sita is taking no chances. She leads the cubs away from Charger. Toward dusk, many of Bandharvgarh's animals are active. Sita has brought the cubs to the edge of the forest near the grasslands, and the young male settles in for the evening floor show. A peacock, the ultimate fan dancer, takes center stage. The peahen seems to find it an underwhelming performance. At least someone's paying attention. Night falls on the last of the late spring days. By midsummer, Bandharvgarh simmers in daytime temperatures of 40 degrees centigrade or more. High up in the hills, the tiger family feeds on a kill that is a long way from fresh. The cubs are now 6 months old. Sita and her cubs have been feeding at the same carcass for nearly a week. It's just too hot for the mother tiger to hunt very often. Nearby, Charger is patrolling his territory. The old male also seems to be suffering from the heat. Charger inspects the ruin that Sita has been using as a den. Sita and her mate exchange greetings. Sita knows what Charger is after. She abandons the kill, and it could be that she is taking a risk. The little male and his 2 sisters are still feeding at it. But the cubs are older now, and Sita is relaxed as Charger comes closer. The young tigers are joined by their father, and in a remarkable show of tolerance, he allows them to stay. Sita is not worried. No other male tiger is known to have shown this kind of forbearance. Charger carries off one large chunk of meat for himself while the cubs feed. The male cub follows him. Charger settles in at a waterhole to cool off. The young male approaches cautiously. His daring is rewarded. Charger allows him to come close and even permits a quick cheek rub, a definite show of acceptance. Tolerance is turning into something more. Father and son share a drink. Mother and daughters rest nearby. The male cub stays close to the intriguing new presence in his life. When Charger leaves the pool, the little cub is bold enough to follow. The little male is a long way from his sisters and his mother. He is lost. His presence panics the other animals. Sita finally hears his cries and goes to rescue her missing cub. Mother and son are reunited as night begins to fall. Twilight is Sita's best hunting time. Whatever the season, the nightly ritual is the same. Sambar come out of the forest to drink. And Sita watches. This time the deer's sensitive hearing and eyesight give them the edge and they all get away. A tiger may have to try 10 times before making a kill. An Indian python has had more success. It is swallowing the chital whole. The snake will not need to eat again for weeks. Sita's hunt continues deep into the night. By dawn, she has killed a sambar. During the long night of hunting, the cubs have been left alone. As morning comes, they have only the monkeys for company. the langurs warmed themselves in the early sunshine. Sita is on her way back to the cubs, weary from her exertions. As usual, the sight of a tiger creates a disturbance. Sita has left the kill carefully hidden in the tall grass. The tigers quickly settle down to eat. Fresh meat at last. Sita has been wounded on her neck. Hunting injuries are a constant hazard. The mother tiger tends her wound. The cubs sort out who gets what to eat. There's a jackal nearby. It can smell the carcass. When the cubs have eaten, Sita leads them away. She's exhausted. The male cub also takes a rest. The jackal seizes his chance. As the day heats up, the deer come out of the forest to drink and cool off. A langur also comes down to the water for a drink, dunking her baby in the process. It must be refreshing, but the infant doesn't seem to like it much. The vultures have spotted what's left of Sita's kill. Charger sees the sign. Charger can once again head for an easy meal. Along the way, he stakes out his territory. But he's arrived too late. The vultures are already fighting over the last few scraps. So Charger settles down not far from Sita and the cubs. She interrupts her nap to go and greet her mate. Then she takes her leave. The male cub tentatively approaches his father. And this time, Charger is more than tolerant. The two males relax together, while Sita takes little notice. This tiger father and son seem to share real affection for each other. The male cub seems reluctant to leave, but he's Sita's son too. He still needs the kind of care only a mother can give. Charger is on his own again. When the monsoon season arrives in July, Bandharvgarh gets its annual drenching, 2 months of high winds and rain. The langurs sit it out. The chital have plenty to eat as the grass grows tall. Streams burst their banks, and from out of the swamps, pythons emerge. This adult is about 10 feet long. In spite of its size, it is wary of a langur. Monkeys have been known to mob a snake. For a snake, this is a hasty retreat. As the monsoon comes to an end, Sita and her family are up in the hills, near the ruined temple. Inside, the cubs are grappling with her most recent kill, a large male chital. They seem to have forgotten that it's best to start from the back. They still have a lot to learn. Sita will need to find food for the cubs for another year or so, but at least the air is cooler now, and the tired mother makes the most of this moment of peace. In the valley next door, the young female, Butchie, is still advertising her availability to mate. She leaves scent marks, just in case a new male dares to come into Charger's territory. It's long past the time when she could be starting her own family. Charger is having a rest. Much of the time, the old veteran is content to lie in the sun or just watch the langurs play. It's nothing he hasn't seen before. At the age of 12, a tiger cannot expect to stay master of all he surveys forever. For Sita, life is still one long search for food. And deer are still her most common quarry. It's hard for them to spot Sita in time. But this attack has failed. It's winter again. The cubs are now more than a year old. They have thrived in Sita's care. They have their own powerful claws and teeth, but it's still up to Sita to bring home every meal. This time it's a python. A tiger will eat a snake's undigested meal or its store of eggs, but rarely the snake itself. The cubs aren't so sure about this meal. Sita goes straight for the egg sacs. The cubs are used to warm-blooded mammal for dinner, not a reptile. They ignore the offering. At least the python's tail is fun to play with. It's a bit scaly, though. When Sita kills a chital, the cubs find it more to their liking. Sita takes a well-earned rest. The two young females continue to feed, while, true to character again, the male goes looking for adventure. Can he conquer a tree? Although he's now on his own more often, the male cub still spends hours each day with his mother and sisters. In about 10 months' time, he will have to leave Sita to find his own territory and females with whom he can mate. His sisters will head off 2 or 3 months after he leaves, but they will start families closer to Sita. Together for now, the females make the most of a watering hole. The male cub is the last one in the water. As usual, he takes the spot closest to his mother. Suddenly, an unfamiliar tiger appears. It's Bachi, Sita and Charger's oldest daughter. Sita has brought the cubs into her territory. The male cub goes to investigate. Sita may recognize her daughter, but the male cub has no way of knowing that this stranger is actually his older sister. As always, he's curious and heads toward her, less sure of his footing than of his need to investigate. Bachi's growl should warn him away. The cub comes closer. Suddenly, Bachi attacks. The cub is stranded. Bachi has blocked his way to Sita. He means no harm, but Bachi charges again. The male cub makes a dash to safety and Sita. Bachi disappears back into the undergrowth. The waterhole is a convenient place for the cub to cool his embarrassment. Bachi has 3 good reasons for being so defensive. She has had her own litter of cubs at last. They are only 6 weeks old. Bachi couldn't even let her own relations come too close. Bachi's cubs are all males. Sita's male cub will now face some real challenges. Only one male can become Charger's successor. And who is the father of these cubs? Bachi is unlikely to have mated with her father. It's far more likely that a new male tiger has come into the area and that he has fathered the litter. If the new male is strong and if he's here to stay, he will change the lives of all the tigers in this part of Bandharvgarh. Sita and her female cubs will have to establish new bonds with the stranger. That could be good news. The sisters would have a mate, and their cubs would have the benefit of fresh genes. But any son of Charger's would have to be driven off. The male cub's future may be written in the sand, in the huge footprints of the new adult male. Could this be the end of Charger's reign? He has kept interlopers out until now, letting Sita's family grow in peace, but he may be too old to fight off a challenger. Sita's favorite cub has thrived, thanks to both his parents, but he faces an uncertain future. He will soon learn things Sita cannot teach him, what it means to be a male tiger. But he's had a strong start in life. With luck, he will learn to hunt, find mates of his own, and father a new generation of tigers in Bandharvgarh.